Hello.
All right, welcome to No Crying in the Cool Room. We are on location today. Again, we are at Bertie Wine Bar. We have one of the best bartenders in the state sitting with us, James Connolly. How are we going, mate?
Gents, thank you for having me on the show.
That's good. It's nice to have a bartender. We're very excited.
Yeah,
Am I the first one?
I think so, yeah.
The other side.
Officially.
Yep.
Unless I think we've all poured ourselves a pint in the past.
Yeah, we've already got the beers.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
To have the other side of the same thing in the house with us today.
Yeah, I feel like chefs and bartenders are like the same, but they're very different at the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
get this right up in your muzzle.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah. He's on the kids' end of
You're
the
probably
table.
used to talking to people from a distance. You don't want to get too close to the patrons, do you?
That's it, exactly. We like to have that separation between us and the customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very much like chefs. We were just sort of saying something before. Like, I like to have a pass between me and anyone
Yeah.
else in my life. Like, I need to have some kind of shelf
Build a wall.
to look through before I talk to someone, especially emotionally.
Ned Kelly helmet.
So what were you guys like when they first like brought in like open plan kitchens for you? Like this is no good for me. Like,
I did my whole apprenticeship in an open kitchen. We were like
Right.
in the middle of the restaurant. It was like a big U. We were right in the middle. It sucked.
Yeah.
But it was better for me later. Like I got used to it and used to working clean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was my first job out of there. We were just in a normal kitchen. I was like, this is awesome. No one's looking at you. No one's.
Yeah, I guess
like,
everything you do is open kitchen, right? As a bartender.
yeah, exactly.
People are always leaning over and having a look.
There's nowhere to hide.
Do you like that aspect of it?
Yeah, I like it's. People say like the main bartenders. They say like the bar's like a stage, right? You know, and like you're out there, and you know that you can't. You have to be able to talk to people, you know, and you know people are there for sometimes, especially like in cocktail bars or after like a drink and a show type thing, you know, and they want to be able to talk to bartenders, and you find that the best bartenders are the ones like they may not always make the best drinks, but they're the ones that are the best with people, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I used to work with a guy, this American guy, would have been 17 years ago, and like he didn't make the best drinks, but he was the best at talking to people, and people would be like, I want that guy to serve me, just because he had like the best rapport and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. We used to go down to the, on my break at work, used to go down to the local RSL, or not RSL, Bowls Club, same thing.
Yep.
And you just paid like $10 for membership for the year, and you got like, you know, $3 pints or whatever. So we'd sink like 4 on our break.
Yeah, free snooker table.
Yeah, but there was always like great bartenders there. And like they would just chat. Obviously, all they did was like pour the cheapest beers ever.
Yeah.
No cocktails, nothing.
Yeah.
But I always like that. Like you just have a chat. They were so casual about everything too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nothing was too much effort or
Yeah, you want a personal
always
experience, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing worse than like, and I guess it's arrogant bartender or a bartender that isn't trying to take care of you on the other side. Like, you get so frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, I come from Melbourne. I'll just put that in there.
He has to tell you that.
They ignore the shit out of you, you know what I mean? Or they like...
Yeah, you know, it's like when you're bartending, you know, it's like game face time. You know, it doesn't matter if your cat died that day type thing. You still have to like put on a mask and go out there and, you know, try and make everyone feel as welcome as possible.
Yeah. And then
push
get
it-
them drunk.
Get them drunk. You know, you're almost like like Van Wilder, you know, you're like party liaison every night in theory. So, you know, you want to try and facilitate a good time for everyone. Doesn't always work out like that, but that's what the goal is, I guess.
Yeah, dude. And isn't that funny? You're just feeding people alcohol, but you're kind of regulating them at the same time. Hey?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are the regulators.
Yeah, it's like this thing where you get in trouble with the government if you don't do it, and then if you do it too well, you get in trouble with the customers because they're just like, you know, I can't believe you cut me off type thing. You're like,
You can't believe you cut me off.
Have you kicked out someone that you thought was drunk but they weren't?
It was maybe like disabled. Actually, that's an interesting one. If you had like a speech impediment or something, you sound drunk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or a limp and they didn't notice it until you got up.
Yeah, just fall over. Just haven't eaten that day.
Have you had some bad ones, James?
No, like I've been threatened a few times by like grown-ups, and you're just like, you're threatening me because I told you couldn't have alcohol anymore. You know, you're a bit like, okay, that's weird. You know, I've had people like threaten to get you fired and stuff like that, and you're like, that's a weird flex, but you know, go for it.
Like, I know the boss, like I know the manager kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or I work for this company and we're gonna, you know, you're like, right, well okay, that escalated really quickly to the point where, you know.
That's just out of their own embarrassment, though. That's like a fight or flight thing, right? That's like, oh, you can't possibly
like
not me. Or
ego,
like,
just like egomania, just like kicking in.
Yeah, totally.
But it's just alcohol, isn't it? Like anyone can come in and have alcohol if they're over a certain age, but they don't have to have a certain mentality.
Yeah.
So they can come get drunk and then just yell at you. That's a tough job, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Just abuse. Just come in for the abuse.
Well, I like to think like the more experience you have it, like especially when I'm behind the bar, like I get people say to me like I'm always like watching, because like as a bar manager or the venue manager or whatever, I'm always like to see what people are doing, and so I think it's really important that you try and, you know, get to those problems before they actually occur, you know, and be like, all right, we need to keep an eye on these guys because they look like they're having way too much fun. Or they, you know, they're being really, really loud and they stick out like a sore thumb. So it's like maybe you need to just regulate, like you said, like regulate those people. But then, you know, sometimes someone might just slip under the radar and they, and then you're like, well, where did this person come from?
A quiet asshole, is that what we're calling them? What are they called in the industry? You got to have a nickname for those assholes.
I'm not sure.
There's a tricky one over there. Maybe that's it. There's 3 bad apples in the corner.
Or sometimes just get people that just wander straight in off the street, and you're like, straight away, like, all look at each other, and you're like, give it one of those, like, and so they walk up to the bar, and you just be like, I'm sorry, bro, and then they'd be like, slurring, like, what do you mean I can't have more alcohol?
I've only had 10.
But what they haven't told you is they got kicked out of 3 other bars.
That's it. They've literally been kicked out of the bar across the road, and they're coming straight to you.
Give you the same. All you bartenders should sort of have like an inter-bartender phone where you can call each other up and down the street and be like, dude, there's 3 coming your way.
That definitely happens. Though.
No, that does happen. We've had like precincts, so like on Beaufort Street we used to have one, and be like, oh, these 3 dudes are just being kicked out for this, and then they go in the next place and be like, sorry.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was on a pub crawl once, and we got out of the pub. We got out of the bus on the first stop, and my mate tripped down the stairs and like hit, like it was a sign, and he hit the sign and it kind of like bent over. We weren't trying to fuck shit up. We were just very first stop. We weren't even that tanked. And after that, every single stop we're like, no. So we had to like create our own pub crawl. We had to like, well, we'll go here then. But like everyone knew this bus, they're fucked.
Yeah.
But it did look like we were just fucking this sign up. And then we were like sort of drunkenly sort of trying to fix it by pushing it the other way. And it looked like we were...
Looks like you were just like bending it.
That was that was the first time I realised that. I was like, shit, you guys talk to each other, eh?
Yeah, cool. I mean, tell us about the industry. Like, it's 2 dumb chefs who just drink.
The only thing I know about bartenders is that we used to swap food. We used to swap food for drink sometimes, or you'd have bartenders that would give you like beers and coffee cups and things like that, which was a bit...
The coffee dispensers.
Like definitely they used to happen a lot, where you'd put like a drink up on the pass and then some food would magically appear.
It's just the currency, eh?
Yeah. Coffees as well. Like giving chef coffees made sure that you got decent staff meal.
You know that, hey?
Yeah. Like it's like a bartering system.
Yeah.
You know, you look after them, they look after you.
Yeah. Are you approaching them first? Like, is there something you want, or usually the chefs will get you and they'll approach you?
Generally, you know that if you're there long enough and you want a decent staff meal, you need to make sure that they're getting plenty of coffee during the day. Make sure you look after them, and they'll reciprocate generally.
Do you have like chefs always have their knives, right? And you're like, don't touch my knives, or this is my spoon. Like pastry chefs get real anal about which spoon they need. It's like it's just a thing. Do you have anything like that? Like when you're making cocktails and things, like you need it, the set, don't touch my shit, or is it more, more flexible? Especially
in like cocktail bars, you know, where primarily your drinks you're sending out are cocktails. Like you'd have your section generally set up in a certain way, and you'd be like, I always had my own shakers. Sound like a wanker.
But like that's what I'm asking.
I bring my own shakers.
We'd have all our own tweezers and like all sorts of shit. Yeah.
No,
and like bar spoons come in different designs. So some have got forks on the end that might be like longer, shorter. So all bartenders have their preferred one of those. Strainers. You know, there's all sorts of things.
And why your own shakers? Like, what's the diff?
So you can get some really average ones that are made, cheap And then like I had these this German brand called Karl Mertens, and they were like $80 each. And the best, I've still got them 12 years later. 13 years later, they're still.
What makes that good though? Like I honestly think it's just two things. But you just shake it. And, yeah, that's what I think
like
you guys do.
You just shake it.
We just like the noise it makes. It's just the ergonomics of the design and the fact that, like I said, like most cocktail shakers, you throw them out after 3 years or something because they'll just be absolutely knackered from shaking. Whereas I've still got these 12, 13 years later, and they still use them every day.
Yeah,
and they're still perfect. Like, and they just feel good, and you can fit as many drinks as you need.
I suppose if you're fucking doing that all night, you're gonna want one eventually that's works for you or feels better, or if you're doing like 50 shakes a night, fuck that. If you got something that's does not quite right. I don't know.
I've always thought bartenders, like as a chef, we have all the checks. Like it's a big night and we have all the checks stuck up in front of us, and we're like, oh shit, let's try and get through these. And for a bartender, I always thought like those checks had faces and they're in a line and they're looking at you. So is it like high pressure? Like when it's a real busy time, every single check is looking you in the face, waiting for their turn.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
And you got people like clicking their fingers, or they used to like wave money out.
That's probably pretty rude, hey?
Yeah. And then they wouldn't make eye contact, like until you like get to the point where you're
Just
like,
take the money.
trying to make eye contact with the next person, and if they're not looking, they're turning around talking to their mate or something. You're like, I've got to go.
Next.
Gotta go.
Next. Yeah.
But when it gets really busy, you'd be finishing off someone's order, and I'd point at someone, I'd be like, "You're next. Please have your order ready."
Yeah, nice.
And if they didn't, like something, because you get some people like chain order, you know, it's like they'll go, I get a vodka lime soda, and you start to make, and they go, and a beer, and you're like, and a Negroni, and a pint of Guinness, and you'd be like, you're just like amateur hour. You're like, just put it all together. I can remember 4 things. It's like I can
Like
do
you
that.
just pretend to be an adult for like 10
Well,
seconds.
then what's the best way to order? Like if it's a giant, massive night and you're in queue, should I be eyeballing the bartender the entire time if I'm like 4 deep?
Not like eyeballing him, like not
All
like
right.
you know,
Looking-
sort of getting his
Like Jeffrey
making sure he knows that you're ready, and then things that
With my hands up? Like
things
this?
that take the longest is what we're going to make first. So things like Guinness, cocktails, you know, all the things that take some effort to make. Whereas like beers and glasses of wine, they're the things that we put up last. Like if someone gives me a big order, in my head I'm going to process it into what takes the longest. I'm going to make first, whatever the easiest things or the things that need to present the best, like a beer, like because that's only got limited time where it's going to look great. They're the things I'm going to put up last. But like when I was at, say, Longchim in the state buildings, for example, we had a dispense bar. So, you know, it's similar to like how a kitchen would be set up, and we'd have a docket rail. And in the space of 4 hours, between two of us, we could pump out like 200 cocktails sometimes. And, you know, like that was the first sort of bar I worked in where it was almost like set up like a kitchen. You know, we had like steam pans, like the 119s. And they're all loaded up with garnishes, you know, in a thing there, you know, and the dockets come in, and there'd be like the lead bartender be calling dockets, going like, I'm doing this, you're doing this, and then we'd get the drinks and try and make sure we send them all at the same time, you know, and then it's kind of like the process where we're shaking, icing up the drinks, garnishing, and then putting them up on the pass, and then off they go. And like the level of prep that we had to put into those drinks, you know, sometimes all day long the guys are like prepping while they're running the bar while it's quiet, and then when it's night time, it's go time, because you know you have to pump out 200 drinks.
I always used to laugh at the front of house watching them try to cut the limes and stuff with like basically butter knives and shit, like just waiting for them to cut their finger off. Like they're absolutely amateurs, but I'm sure people are good at that. But always used to think, like, why are you not using a sharp knife? And I never, obviously never used to offer them my knife or anything. Yeah, used to wash it.
The thing they do is they cut the limes and then they leave it covered in citric acid, and they don't wash it off, and then they wonder why it's blunt the next time they go to use it.
Totally.
Like,
There's a lot of inefficiencies in a bar from a chef's perspective.
100%. Yeah.
When we look over the counter.
I just always assumed all you guys did was change kegs for a while, because like that's the only time you would ever see someone. It was just in the cool room, just fucking with kegs. Oh, you're fucking with the kegs again. Like, meanwhile, we're just trying to run in and get prep and things. So
mine was.
But you never saw what was going on at the front at all.
Yeah.
I never understood cocktails. Like, why not just pre-make them all and put them in jugs and then just pour it in? But I guess
you can kind of get that now. I've seen them like,
but that's got
especially
to not be good though, right?
Yeah, it can't be as good.
It's kind of like short order cooking, where you like I used to work in a Mexican place, and the food's pretty much like a lot of it's prepped beforehand, and then just, when you get to cooking stages, you put it together and send it. And a lot of cocktails are like that now, where we keep all the fresh ingredients separate, and anything that we can mix together beforehand, like pre-batch, we do, or we're like kegging up ingredients and like they're under pressure, so that we've got like a gin and tonic on tap or whatever it is that we need. So if you're making 100 of them in the night, you're working smart, not hard.
Yeah.
Or trying to.
Does it make it better though to have like a fresh?
Well, it's
cocktail?
consistency as well, right? So you've got like if you've got 100 drinks that all taste essentially the same, then you're in theory doing something right. Like, so, for example, when I was working for the art group, we'd have at Market Ground. You guys been to Market Ground? On a Saturday night, there's 1,000 people in there, and you've got 25 weekend warriors that you have to try and get to make 200 of a cocktail exactly the same. And so, like, being able to pre-batch all those ingredients and get it so that it's only 2 steps for them, so much easier for them to, and the drinks come out the same. They look the same, taste the same.
Cost the same.
Cost the same. People are happy paying their money for them as well. So
I'd get so tired of that. I just get so tired of, like, cooking's one thing, you just put it on the pass and off it goes, then you whinge that people aren't getting it fast enough and things like that. But having to look people in the eye after that as well, like, I would just feel like, can you just go away? Just please stop looking at me.
I love chefs. It's like, it'd be like you make an alteration to something that they can do. And then you'd be like, why didn't you check this with me? And then you'd be like,
can you do it?
And then, so then next time you go and check it with them, and they look at you like a moron, and they'll be like, I can do that. Why are you asking?
You're not winning, eh? You're never going to win.
Give us your perspective of chefs, bro. Come on.
I'm setting myself up for a lot of feedback here, I'm sure.
Nah, but
that is what happens, because like you can't win, right? If you come to the pass, like, what do you want? Yeah. But like we've asked you to come to the pass last week,
you can't win.
I know that whole thing. It's funny. It's fun. Like, but you do it less to the people that you like kind of enjoy. So.
Or they're like, take hot food first, and you go, okay, and the cold stuff can always take the hot food first. You're like, okay. So then you go grab the hot food, and they're like, no, I want you to take this now. And you're like, but last week you said take the hot food first, and they're like, no, this needs to go right now.
Like, no, you're always wrong.
Yeah.
You're never going to be right.
But my perspective on chefs, I love chefs. I think like chefs and bartenders kind of like cats and dogs. Like, like the chefs being the dogs behind the pass, like, and we're out just wandering around in the wild, just like rubbing up against things and just generally.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What kind of dog would you be?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like kind of a skinny dog. A skinny kind of like, I don't know, but I'm very slow also.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe a Doberman?
What are those little, they look like, they're a bit slower.
Maybe.
But like, how those little dogs that look like greyhounds, but they're like this big?
Whippet.
Whippet. Are they like that a bit?
Yeah, but they're like...
But you're not small.
Yeah, all got lots of
They're
energy.
pretty quick though, whippets. They're like...
Are they?
Yeah, they're like mini greyhounds essentially. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I was thinking like a sloth.
Yeah, something. Well, that's my spirit animal.
A sloth.
Is the sloth.
I don't know what kind of dog I'd be. I would want to be like, like Beethoven. Like those, whatever those ones are called.
Saint Bernard.
That's it.
Saint Bernard, yeah.
You're like medium
They used to
chunk.
have, like, in the cartoons, they'd have the fucking...
The brandy around their neck for when you find someone in a
I reckon I'd that.
avalanche or whatever.
Yeah,
I'd have the brandy on me all the time.
Smaller, a little bit chunkier, like medium aggression.
Yeah.
Mediumly aggressive.
Yeah,
dog.
like it'll happen if you push me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I've got the...
That's a vibe I get with a lot of chefs. It will happen if you push me.
Yeah. Why are we so aggressive? I don't know.
It's just what it is, man. It's the constant bullshit. And it's constant pressure under pressure.
And then bartenders have to be a certain type of person as well, right? Like you have to be people. You have to be like people.
Yeah.
I always had the best banter with bartenders, though. I could take or leave at a front of house generally.
Yeah.
But bartenders are always fun.
Because
at least you get a banter, and then we'd both fuck off.
Yeah, banter definitely.
Yeah. It's not like that you're always hanging around as well. unless you're changing kegs and then look
But
out.
I feel like chefs
St.
have
Bernard.
evolved a lot over the last 17 years that I've been working with them. You know, like I remember like working kitchens in England, and there'd be like chefs that like they'd only had a good shift if they'd made like a waitress cry, whereas now like now it's like totally different to that. You know, everyone's nice and friendly, and you know, getting good work-life balance generally.
A little bit more about the food.
Yeah.
Less about like our lifestyle around the food.
It's definitely, the culture has improved. It was like toxic as when I started.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It's craziness. What?
I kind of like
20 years ago.
Do you guys used to play like tricks on apprentices and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Have you done that one already? Have I missed that episode?
No, we haven't.
Tricks
I
on
never used to
apprentices?
get into it because I didn't like it happening to me. So I was always that like, this is bullshit, but let's just watch what happens.
It depends. Yeah. So if
Did you ever have a good one that happened to you?
Oh yeah, but they weren't even tricks. Like they'll just like, put their finger in your butt. Like that was.
It's a classic move, eh?
Yeah, like I just found it very hard to go into the cool room because I knew something was going to go down.
The only time I ever swung at somebody, it happened like that.
With one of
I
those?
was bending over under the bench and someone put his digit right up my ass and I nailed it. It wasn't like around the area. I was like, fuck. And I hit my head so hard and I can't hit it. He goes, look out, or that was silly or something like that. And I just swung. We missed him, didn't hit him or anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I was just like this mess.
Oh, you guys are like wild in the kitchen. We're not doing things like that in the bar.
You're not.
But it's such a silly thing to do, just go boop. But
Yeah.
like the results is like you're having the worst day now.
Well,
Like
you
you
get
smashed your head.
the coffee,
You already want to fight someone.
coffee pucks and like cover them in like icing and just leave them on the pass, and then like one of the wait staff be like, oh, like cake or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, I've done that. I've
Yeah,
done that
yeah,
with the front of house used to, when I was an apprentice, I used to do the pastry section at night as well as my own shit because we only had a pastry, or we would serve the desserts, I should say, at night, and we had these little tiny truffles. Like chocolate Belgium truffles, and we'd roll them in fucking cocoa, and that was part of a dish. So you'd only need like 30 of them, but like every front of house would walk past the pastry fridge because no one in there, and they would just take one. So by the end of it, you'd have like 20, and then all of a sudden you'd have 5. You know, what the fuck? So I used to make little non-chocolate ones and put them at the front, and only I knew where the actual ones were, but I'd make them out of shrimp paste. And one day some
Brutal.
chick was just, I went around and she'd projectile vomited all over, because it's just like, and she was allergic to seafood.
Oh,
So
no.
I'd fucking poisoned her, and I was like, you should, like, I gave her a serve, and she was like anaphylactic and vomiting, and then then I got in trouble because
Because she died.
she didn't
dead
die.
now.
She didn't die. Well, she might be dead, but she didn't die from that.
we,
No.
we used to get like kids come in, like glassies or barbacks come in from the bar next door, and they'd be like, do you guys have any ice making solution? I'd be like, yeah, just
That's brilliant.
give them a bucket of water to take back to their
Yeah.
bar, and then like bar manager's like, great job, well done.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I've seen that one where they'll say fill that pot up with ice and like bring it to the boil, and so the apprentice will go down, get the ice, fill this like a fucking stock pot up with
Like a
ice.
30 litre.
And bring it back and then put it on the stove, and you're like, first time I ever saw it, I was like, holy fuck, what the fuck are you doing? And then he's like, just boiling water for, and I was like, oh, brilliant. The other one was that they always try to get people to do was chop flour. You ever seen- and they were supposed to, it was like chopped flour, and if you chop it fast enough, it'll turn blue, and that's what we need. We need blue flour for this, whatever. And if you rush it people enough, they'll start doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just chopped flour.
No, we were just real shit to the apprentices. It wasn't like any of that hack stuff. But then it definitely putting stuff on the pass for the front of house to come past and eat or try was definitely a good one.
I used to get a cocktail shaker, and I'd put like hot sauce in it, and so like, and then I'd put ice in it, so I'd just shaking it, and then I'd give them a straw and be like, "Oh, taste this," and they go,
That's awesome.
"Yeah."
To a chef?
Anyone really, anyone that would fall for it.
Yeah. You do that with off anything as well. Like, do you smell this cream? And it'd be like fucked, and you just go whoop,
No.
pop it a little bit. So
That's
it goes
great.
right up their nose. And then the other onion. If you had to blitz up onions or something, like the water that comes out of any of the squeezings, same shit. You're like, just can you try this? And it's just like fucking onions. Yeah.
I worked as a kitchen porter for a while, and I was at this place in Sydney, and my job was basically to peel garlic for like 2 days, and then I could still smell garlic like under
Yeah.
my hand for like 2 weeks later. You'd
Yeah.
be like,
months.
There
Months
used, there
later.
used to be a trick to get rid of that, but it still didn't work. Like they used to say all kinds of shit, like rub it with lemon, like rub your fingernails with lemon and stuff. But that would just end up hurting your fingers.
That
And
sounds
you
like some
still
old Italian thing that they just only had garlic
Yeah,
and
it's like a
lemons.
nonna. Just going,
Yeah.
this is how you do it. But the nonnas smell like garlic their whole
Yeah.
lives, I'm guessing. I'm trying to think of any other. There was always that one where like people would hang your fucking ladle on the back of your apron.
Do you know, I just remembered.
It's just me.
I was being an idiot. One service, I was being a complete idiot where like
Checks
people
out.
kept stealing my tongs and I was working the pan section, I think.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's it. So I tied one pair of everything to my apron belt with string. And I did an entire service with like a string of like, I think it had one tool, one spoon, one spatula, one tong.
Yeah.
But I was working the pans, so the string wasn't long enough to reach the back. So I was like, but I
set yourself on
refused to
fire.
stop. So I would get up trying to like flip things and I only had this much string. And I'm like,
You actually tie them onto you.
yeah.
That's fucking
And then
so
I did a whole
retarded.
service for that. But you got to have fun. You got to get through the day.
maybe that's the next step, like tool belts. Like,
Yeah.
you know, with a weird little,
We should have tool belts.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
they need the springy.
Or elastic, there's tongs on like elastics. and-
Yes.
Well, butchers have them. They
Cool
put them in
tool
their.
belt. Yeah, why
fucking-
don't we have tool
I
belts?
don't know if it's a cool tool belt, but it's
Pretty
a tool
cool.
belt.
I think it's cool.
Maybe it's a belt just for a tool.
Yeah, like it's like a hard bum bag. You know what I mean? Like it's utility right there.
Yeah. But the taking the tongs is, ugh.
Yeah,
Like during service, you need to know where the fuck they are.
yeah. I was so fed up with it.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have tied them to me though.
No,
It
but I was
seems like
also
such
trying
an
to,
effort.
I was trying to be a dick
Yeah,
at the same time.
Righto. I used to write like, I used to make, perfectly folded tea towels and put tape on it.
Yeah?
And just literally write fuck off on there. That stopped people because it's so obvious.
Yeah,
But then,
tea towel stealing. Oof, what
Yeah.
a crime.
I just
Because you
put-
guys get like rations of tea towels, right?
yeah.
You can do.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've worked a few places and you'd see them all like laid. Every chef got like a chucks and then a polishing cloth and then a
Yeah.
tea towel.
Yeah.
That was all they're allowed for
And that
the
was
day.
it.
And then a
So-
bartender would come grab one. Oh.
Yeah, that's it. You got any tea towels? And like chefs are like trying to steal their lunch or something.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Did you try to avoid the kitchen at all costs? Was that like when you were a young bartender?
No, there's a couple of chefs I probably didn't get along with, or I probably wasn't that keen to interact with them. But generally, on the whole, I've been pretty lucky. I've worked with some really good chefs that have been pretty kind, I guess.
We used to steal the front of houses glass towels though all the time. Like it would be just a thing. Like just go. We're down to like 2 tea towels. We just go steal the glass ones and completely fuck them up. They'd be covered in like beetroot or chocolate, and you'd be like, "Here you go," and give it back to them. So I think, yeah.
I wanna know, James, like kind of in the bar business now, like what's trending, what's good. Can you create new cocktails, or do you just circle around the same things? Like what's happening?
It's kind of weird because like I've almost gone like full circle now. So like I started out, learning drinks and then trying to be as creative as possible, and now I'm kind of like back to where I started, where like margarita's probably still a great drink. Rather just use a really great quality product.
Yeah.
Like there's like a tequila, and make sure I'm using the best quality products I can to make that drink, as opposed to going out and making gelatin wax cordial and all these other things to
Yeah.
where else.
That's the same. I think that's the same. You see it a lot on menus now. It's just literally 3 things like on a plate, but it's like a really good aged sort of ribeye or something.
Yeah.
And then you got
Yeah.
2 things
High quality.
with it, which is literally fresh as fuck.
But can you invent something new?
There's no gastronomic bullshit going on anymore.
Yeah,
Can you-
I mean,
can
you
you
can.
make
Like
a-
a lot of it's a variation on a theme, right? Like you can come out with the most, like specced out cocktail, and people go, "Oh yeah," but essentially, if you swap this with this and this, you've just made a twist on this drink type thing. So there are people out there still pushing boundaries and stuff like that, but yeah, it's like it gets harder. Like in 1905, all you needed to do was put together some white rum, lime, and some caster sugar. You create a drink, daiquiri, that people are still drinking 120 years later. You know,
That's a
it's
good
probably
point.
not happening much anymore.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
thought about that.
But there's people who are trying, or is everyone just sort of like,
No, there's definitely people out there trying. And like one thing that we have in bartending, which I don't think you see that much of in chefing, is like we have like cocktail competitions that are fairly like a regular thing where, you know, you get given a product or a brand. So let's say it's a bourbon, and it'd be like, you need to create a drink, best drink you can with this bourbon, and then you have to get up on behind the bar and like present it in front of judges and an audience. You know, present your drink and, you know, create some kind of theatre and, you know, like theatrics around this drink, and make sure that, you know, and try and create this weird and wonderful thing that's going to, you know, sometimes the prizes were like trips to, you know, Kentucky, or, you know, it'd be like...
Yeah.
Saying that, I've like won my fair share of cocktail competitions and got some really good prizes. Like I got to go to Ibiza one year.
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
I'm glad you came back. You're a sensible man.
Not everyone does, eh?
Yeah, almost missed the flight back, but yeah, I made it back. But so they flew me out to this distillery in Spain, and like I got there, I've been in like transit for like 24 hours, and so they took me to this distillery, and they've got like all this 80% ABV spirits in these big vats that like they're separate distillates to make the gin, and so the guy like pours one into a glass and like passes it to me, like. He's Spanish, I'm English, so like there's a communication breakdown, and he's gone like that as if to smell the distillate, and I've gone like that
Straight away, yeah.
necked it. So I've done this like double shot of like 80% ABV spirit. I was just like after the, and like I was like, whoa, that was, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
Thanks for the no afterwards.
Woke me up after the flight though, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
They do the absinthe like that, eh? That gets that high, I think.
Is
Yeah.
absinthe still a thing?
I don't know. It was when I was like 18.
Yeah.
But in Prague, they had like toxic ones. Like, fuck, that one.
Yeah, there's
Remember that being like 78% or something like that?
there's a lot of myth around absinthe, especially like the active ingredients, a thing called fujone, and that's the thing that essentially would make you hallucinate. But you would probably die of alcohol poisoning before the legal
Before it
amount of
worked.
fujone that would make you hallucinate
Yeah.
in there. And then when you look back at, I think it was it Dali, the one that was one of these French impressionist artists that, you know, went mad because he drank too much absinthe. What happened was that they were producing absinthe so quickly and cheaply that they were using like cobalt chloride to colour it, because
Okay.
artificially colour it, and that was what was cooking people's brains.
Just made him
not the
mad.
actual active
Really?
ingredients. Yeah, so they were getting sent mental by this chemical that they were using to colour it, as opposed to the
Yeah, right.
So it's like
hallucinations.
mineral poisoning or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All I remember about absinthe is that they used to like light it up at the bar, and you just burn your fucking face, like you just burn your mouth.
Yeah.
Or maybe I was leaving it too long and
No,
just
you're
going.
supposed to blow it, aren't you?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not drinking the flame, but like the rim of the glass was like.
Yeah.
And I'd go,
saw a
"Ah,"
kid
and then I
drink
just
the
have another
flame
one.
once. I was at a bar and a kid, they lit it up and he just goes, yeah. And
Well,
got
it's like
his
people see
face.
like using
Where'd you
like
day?
dry ice pellets in drinks and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
you're like, what are you doing? Like, if that goes in someone's stomach,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
they're not having a good time.
So I've seen it a couple of times. You'll smoke the glass or something.
Yeah.
What does that do? Anything?
Well,
Because then you just release it, right?
yeah. So there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could, you know, put something that's going to burn and put the glass over the top,
Yeah.
or, you know, they get these polyscience smoking guns and have like a see-through like cloche
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and you know, blow the smoke in there. The only thing I find with that is like when you taste like a meat that's been artificially smoked, for example, like it absorbs it better, whereas a drink, it always just tastes artificial. Like,
Yeah, right.
as, from my perspective, I've
Yeah.
never had one where I've gone like, oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So, but in terms of theatrics, it looks brilliant. Right?
Yeah, it looks
you know,
cool.
Take it
Yeah.
off and then,
give it a little Heston.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
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 Where
right.
is Heston now? Is he still kicking around?
He must be.
Yeah, he
He's
must
probably
be
opening
cruising.
Yeah.
Probably open his 85th branded.
Yeah, I think
He'll
Heston.
definitely have one in Dubai. Sure. Like,
Last time I saw
like
him, he
everyone.
was selling like little hibachi things.
Oh yeah, and they were at Bunnings. I remember.
Were they?
Yeah.
Heston at Bunnings?
They were like $600,
he's killing it.
man. They were like, and you have to like, you didn't have to, but he was selling the incredibly expensive charcoal with the charcoal.
He's a perfectionist.
grill.
What can you say?
You had to buy that charcoal for this.
But next to it is the cheap charcoal, so that's your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Thinking that you're not light charcoal anywhere else.
Get
but
a
this.
concrete bucket. Figure it out.
Yeah,
Concrete
That's what they
bin.
are. That's what they are. Yeah.
All right, James, give us we want bad stories.
Bad stories.
How about, well, one for the chefs that we do is like, your worst day. Do you remember like your worst day?
My worst day.
Have you ever
As a
cried? Have you
bartender.
ever cried in the cool room?
Have I ever cried in the cool? Have I ever cried in the cool room? No.
Fuck.
You
Never.
ever bent down, opened the fridge and cried outside of the fridge, but close
I
to
might
it?
have,
You like
I might have
do your
screamed.
eyes?
I might have screamed "fuck" really loudly in the cool room a couple of times.
Yes.
But yeah, look, I mean, I've been working behind bars for 17 years now, like for 40 hours plus a week. It all just seems like one long shift sometimes. It's just like,
Yeah.
Yes.
the 40,000 plus hours, and you're just like, when was that? Like, people tell you stories and I don't even remember that. Like,
Right. You've never had like just bar fights break out, or I mean, surely as a bartender, it's dangerous.
yeah, like I was saying earlier, like I've been threatened with violence for, telling people they couldn't have alcohol anymore. Yeah, sometimes service is just an absolute nightmare. No one's on their A game, and it's like a busy night, and all the staff are just being absolute dickheads, and you're like, what the hell's
You
going
just have
on?
those nightmares, hey.
Yeah.
And like I was
Checks out.
saying, everyone else is looking you in the face as this, cause it's an open bar, right? Like everything, I found that interesting. Open kitchen
Yeah.
every day. So if you have a bad service, everyone's just watching you go down.
Yeah, especially if and you're deep in the weeds, and then something like someone breaks a glass in the ice well or something, and just like, what the
Oh fuck! I didn't even think of
Yeah.
that.
Broken glass. It's
Yeah.
got to be. That's a big part of the
Yeah,
day.
we'd have to get rid of all that fucking ice too.
Well, that's it.
right?
You have to burn the
Yeah.
ice essentially, and so like that takes
give it to the guy with the
5 to 10
fucking
minutes,
stock pot.
and then refill the ice. It's just such a
And more people are coming in the door.
yeah.
Just go, no, it'll be right.
Yeah.
You're like, no,
Yeah,
probably
but I
not.
used to have dreams about service. So I would finish a shift as a chef, and I would go home and sleep, and then dream about being back at work, and dockets keep coming back in.
Yeah.
And then I was like doing one docket, and I'd be trying to do it, but I'd never finish the meal. So
Yeah.
a recurring dream that I used to have. And then
I
like
still
more
have them.
dockets would sort of start slowly coming in. I could just never finish this one meal, and then I'd
I
wake
think
up.
everyone has them, hey. I had one a few weeks ago. It's
Wow.
fucking bullshit. It was about the combi oven. I've been watching kitchens for fucking ages. And I still had this, it was the same thing as like I couldn't get the combi oven to close, and it was supposed to be on steam for like 8 minutes. And I couldn't get it to fucking close, and people are like, close the oven. I was like, I can't close the oven, and this fucking steam is burning me, and it was just like that forever. And then I finally, some guy just came over and closed the oven, called me like a cunt or something, and then as soon as he walked away, it opened again, and I had to like stand there and do service like with this combi oven,
Yeah.
and that was the dream. And I was like, this is
Yeah.
wicked. I'm still having those dreams.
Did you used to have those, like where you just could never finish shaking a cocktail or
I
something?
remember I was a food runner once, very early in my career, and that's when I decided that I definitely didn't want to be a waiter or a food runner
That's a
in
tough job.
any regard. And like I just remember like the bell just dinging, and then that night I had a dream, and all I could hear was like the bell, just like
Never
ding,
ending.
ding.
Yeah.
But then you also get to a stage where you know you've like been working too much when you're like saying behind to the dog, like in the
Yeah.
kitchen,
Yeah,
or you're
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're in like Coles or something, and you're like with a trolley, and you're like behind, and the
Yeah.
person's like, what the fuck?
They
is-"
freak out.
You
Hey?
scare pensioners, eh? That's like, what?
They either hate you because you've talked to them, or
Yeah.
they jump.
Yeah,
I think it's a combination of both. Like, how do you, because you say it very forcefully too.
Yeah.
Like, you want them to
back.
hear you.
You're just shouting back.
Backs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you're
But have
walking-
you ever said it and the other person was from hospitality and they just said, yep? Has it ever happened? It never happened to me.
No. I've never had it happen, and we're always at the shops on like a Monday though. So it's like, surely one person would have come across another
I thought
person.
I would have seen it.
How good
Yeah.
are Mondays off though, when there's no one else out?
I used to love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go to the pub and like newspaper and a beer.
There's
like,
no
not
one
talk
around.
to anyone for
Yeah.
like an hour.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
You can get everything done. There's no one on the roads. You can fill your fucking car at petrol like 11 a.m.
Yep.
You can, everything about it was so good.
I'm more of a weekend person now, and I hate it. I hate it
Yeah.
because I've got such busy weekdays, so I don't get to like do any of that cool stuff anymore. Like go shopping. Like I still try to avoid people on the weekends, but shopping without anyone there,
Yeah.
just you and the old people, was the best.
Yep.
No lines. I hate lining up. I'll avoid my entire life just not to hang out in the line.
And when it's a public holiday Monday, you're like, what the hell are these people doing in my space?
Yeah.
Like, this is my day.
The car park's full, and then you realise,
We're
wow, this is
walking
how
around
they-
happy too. You're like
You go to the pub and there's a surcharge, and you're like, what the
no.
hell?
yeah, someone's in my seat.
You go to the cafe and there's a line, and you just no. But then
Yeah.
that's how they live their life.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
all go to work together, and then they all go to the weekends together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's
then
like,
they
fuck,
wander
it's
around.
the same people.
And they're like, who's this Tim
And then
cunt?
the
Just wants to be
hospitality
off in the
people.
corner. Like,
Yeah.
don't speak to me.
But I think hospitality people just want time off people,
Yeah.
so we take the Monday, Tuesday approach.
By yourself. Yeah, it's judging yourself.
But then we'll still go out drinking on the weekends and back it up like a boss.
It's mainly after work though, right? Like it's mainly the drink. For me, it was anyway. It was just like, even if I finished at 1 a.m., you just find the spot.
I was watching this thing the other day. What's that English chef's name? Tom Kerridge? Kerridge?
I don't know.
Something like that.
Sounds English.
And he was saying like how much he used to drink after work, and he was like, I drink like 6 pints, and then I'd go and have like 2 pints of Negroni, 4 pints of gin and tonic, and then he'd always have like a case of beer in his car just in case. Like he went somewhere and they didn't have booze, and I was just like, and he was like every fucking night he was just like,
Yeah.
just launch mode, just fucking.
Yeah,
100%.
pretty hectic. And he was a successful chef, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's lost. I think he's given up booze now. He's lost so much weight. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it's
if you're
so
doing pints of
unhealthy,
Negroni,
dude.
I didn't know you could have a pint of Negroni.
I mean, if you're running the restaurant, you do what you want. Right?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
a
if
lot.
you've got any vessel, you could probably fill with Negroni.
Everything's in a pint for this guy?
Yeah, it's just a pint. Should we do a story?
Yeah, let's go.
You might have to put these
Alright.
on. So this is this is called the Chef. We're calling it the Chef Hotline. So people are leaving us messages. We don't listen to these. This could be anything. This could be us just being abused or fucking anything. You should be able to hear it. All right, here we go.
In the early 90s, there's this famous hotel in Sydney. It's on George Street, and the apprentices would and the chefs, we'd all save good cuts of meat if there was too much ordered for a function. So it'd be like fillet steak or duck or
Yeah.
and all the good seafood, lobster, oysters, and foie gras, and all sorts of stuff.
Fuck.
And the waiters, their job was to save any leftover champagne or whiskey and stuff like that after these functions. And once a month, we'd have a dinner party in the fire escape that no managers knew about. It was just a secret. And did this a few times, just once a month, whatever. And it was just, the waiters would set up the table with the tablecloth and all the fine china and just make it 5-star. It was awesome.
What the fuck?
The funny thing is, though, one day this apprentice invited his parents along, and they got their parents to come in and actually sit down and
What the fuck?
have this dinner with
That's hilarious.
with all the staff there at this hotel, which is pretty funny.
That's hilarious, dude. Well done.
Thanks, man.
So they held on to this food for a month?
I don't know. I'm lost there.
I think they did.
Yeah.
That was wild. That was so wild. Like,
They
But even just the setup of setting that up. Was he
Yeah.
saying a fire escape?
yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
But I love that the front of house made it really comfortable and nice with all the goods. You know, like I reckon they probably ironed everything
That's pretty cool.
and gave them.
it's just like when you're trying to explain to people that never worked in hospitality what it's like, and they hear stories like that, they're just
Yeah.
like, that's like the most insane thing,
Yeah.
thing that could happen, you know, and it's just like normal for them.
We used to do that all the time with the wine dinners. Like you'd have a 8 or 10 course degustation with the matching wines from wherever,
Yeah.
and you'd always they'd always be in the cool room ready for the night. So you'd always, if you pushed like a crate under somewhere, that's now the level that you have like for the front of house. So they would always just go take it and then go, do you want some? We'd already got like 3 cases of champagne and everything, and then you'd be like, that was the same thing. We used to give them like these little doggy bags, but we're taking like four bottles of champagne home, and
Yeah.
You'd always have, but I think it was coming from the vineyards anyway. It was sort of all donated. Not that I cared, but
Yeah.
I remember
don't
those.
think that mattered. Where it
I
came
remember
from.
that as soon as the wines, they've just delivered the wine, and or they would deliver it, and then the front of house would check it off and be like, "Oh, there's something missing," so they just give you another out of the truck.
Yeah, it's
As
funny
soon
in
as you
that
pushed
story.
it aside first, you're all right.
We're like, we are passionate people about like even service for ourselves or like having dinner or all these things, but we never do it. So for those guys to like sit aside one day a month, to actually sit down and have a polite conversation is hilarious.
Yeah.
Put a lot of effort in.
I don't know if I would be a part of it. I reckon I'd still be very antisocial.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably.
It's kind of weird because like I've worked at places where like where you're having your staff meal and you're basically in a back alley on a milk crate trying to eat, smash as many darts as you can, and maybe get to the pub next door for a pint or something all within 20 minutes, and then. Like I worked at a place like Rockpool, and everyone sits down for like before service at 6 o'clock. And there'd be 40 or 50 of you all sitting down having like a family meal type thing. So it's for them to actually go there, get all that stuff together, and sit on a fire escape, and every 2 or 3 weeks and do that is pretty insane.
Yeah. Those family meals are amazing, unless you're cooking the family meal for everybody else, and then that sucks.
I've been in a few places that will do that, like Rockpool, that we all sit down and everyone knows it's their day to do it as well and cook it.
Yeah.
But all you're thinking when you're eating it is like, all right, if I finish this in 10 minutes, I can, like something or there's always something in the oven at the time. And you're like, oh, it's basically getting in the way of you getting your prep ready. Yeah. So that's why I always thought like it's a nice thing to do, but
Rockpool's pretty like a all-day job for someone, right?
Yeah.
Prepping the meal for the dinner service,
Yeah.
Not when I was with Neil Perry, but yeah. I just always used to make garlic bread, and that shut people up. People were just like, this fucking meal was awesome. It's so good.
Oh, I mean, staff meals.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Send a load of waiters out with like garlic breath onto the floor, just like.
Yeah.
I thought you meant that all you did there was make garlic bread. I was like,
anybody?
Jesus Christ.
To get specialist garlic bread chef.
No, I did everything
Tim's
else.
on the bread again.
Everything else plus just garlic bread. Because it's like you would make these staff meals and some people would like it and some people wouldn't, and you would put effort in and then blah, blah, blah. And you realise you just got to get like medium amounts of carbohydrates into these people and a lot of bread, which is the same thing, and then they'll fuck off and be happy. That's a hack.
That's all it takes.
It's a hack. If you're out there, just give people bread.
Yeah.
And move on.
It's garlic bread. Yeah, garlic bread's awesome. I like garlic bread.
Fuck
It's
yes.
not a big statement to make, but I just like garlic bread.
Yeah.
I make garlic.
So bold.
I know.
I like garlic bread.
I mean, we are breaking ground with this podcast, to be honest.
You especially just making garlic bread.
Do bartenders steal shit?
Absolutely not.
Nah, fucking like they'd have to.
I've had
like,
bartenders
you
steal my
just-
knives before.
I reckon you're always just eyeing off like a half bottle of this or a small that. Like surely bartenders taking home all the good stuff.
I think they're more likely to give stuff away than like steal it. You know, like the bartenders, if there was hot members of the opposite sex on, they'd give them a drink and then
Yeah, we can get into that controversy. Yeah. We all know it, right?
Yeah.
You serve the hot lady first. You can tell us.
Yeah, I always just give the little bits. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
You serve. Yeah. If it's me and 3 hot ladies at the bar, you're going to them first, James. Hey.
No, maybe when I was younger. Not now.
Yeah. I don't know about that either. Like, you'd have to have like if they were like squawkers. Like they were attractive, but they were like, you're like, fuck that.
Actually, I think you're going to be the least amount of effort, so I'm probably going to go to you first and let someone else serve them. So like,
yeah, it's probably a pint of Negroni.
Yeah, I'll have 2 pints of Negroni.
Because one of the things that keeps me still working in hospitality is like I find people fascinating, like how they like hold themselves, carry themselves, like the interactions they have with like bartenders and their friends at bars and stuff like that. Like it's like, and after doing it for so long, you can kind of like, as soon as someone walks through the door, I'll be like, this person's trouble.
Yeah, you must be
this
a
person's
great
going to be a
people
pain
watcher.
in the butt, and then I'll be like, can you just serve that person for me? And then
Yeah,
I hear their
yeah.
order, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, man, you must, like, maybe that's something that you're interested in, is people watching, or like that part of human behaviour.
Yeah.
Because you're just
Was
watching.
it entomology? Etymology.
Yeah.
One of those.
Do you
one of
ever
those two.
hear some crazy conversations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
someone who's just like
killed
lost
somebody.
$1 million or killed somebody.
Well, I haven't had anyone admit to murder over the bar yet, but
That's a shame.
sometimes you get like, so there'll be like a group of girls out or whatever, and one of them will just come up and go, "Can you put soda water in this glass and make it look like champagne?" And you'd be like, "Oh, okay." So just go, "I'm pregnant. I don't want my friends to know." And I'm like, "You're telling the random guy behind the bar that you're pregnant, but you won't tell all your best friends." Yeah, he's like, "Sure, no problem. I can do that for you."
Yeah. Because like, you know, people would come in and you would get to sort of like make an assessment of them, and then throughout the night as they get drunker, you get to learn through your ears more about their life.
Yeah, and you watch them unravel as a person.
Yes. Yeah, isn't that so funny that we just go out to bars and just unravel as people?
It's because it's because we don't know you, is why you'd probably open up. It seems weird to say, I haven't told anyone I'm pregnant, but I'm going to tell you straight away. But like, you really are nobody to them. You're just, okay, I'm not going to see you tomorrow, or I'm not going to, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's a disconnect. Like, they don't even know that they're thinking that.
Yeah.
But bartenders are just like, or chefs or anyone, you're just a part of the place.
Yeah.
I always tell people like it's a doctor's surgery, like there's a vault, you know, whatever you say in here stays in here, you know, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
So like,
But it doesn't, right? You just got to tell your friends straight away.
Straight on Facebook afterwards. This guy said this.
Yeah, this prego chick. Yeah. I used to, during COVID, I helped my mate out at the butcher shop, and I used to do a bit of serving on the counter, and I got used to that, like getting to know, not necessarily regular customers, but clocking people and going, I don't want to deal with it, whatever this is. And I just do the whole half turn and, you know, have to be served by somebody else. But it was funny how, like, you get to know, like, you know this is going to be 50 grams of mince, and they're going to be pain in the ass. It's going to be $3.
Yeah.
But it'll be a 20-minute fucking sort of chat to get there.
Yeah.
I'd rather serve 20 people really quick. But
Yeah,
I do like people
bartender,
watching.
yeah, I think bartenders, it sounds like you guys, you know, you are people, you are people's people. You like people. Whereas
Generally.
from our point of view, we prefer to avoid them.
Say to everyone.
Yeah. We try it, and sometimes it's hard, but yeah, as a general rule, try and like people as much.
Yeah. What keeps you in it then? Like, what keeps you in bartending for this long, 17 years?
Like I said, still find people fascinating, you know, and those good services, you know, like where you have really nice customers, like far outweigh the bad ones, like, and you sort of walk out and you feel like you've not like a sense of accomplishment, but you know, a sense of that you've achieved something, facilitated some good times for everyone. Everyone's walked away happy. There's been, you know, there hasn't been like a heap of mistakes. You know, and then you walk away and you're like, yeah, that was a good day.
You want to give people a good time?
Yeah.
Is that the goal?
Yeah, I think so. And I also I try and prepare about 80-90% of the time, so I leave like around 10-20%. So like that's my buzz, where like I just leave that gap like of chance, and then hope for the best.
Yeah. Does ambience and everything come into play, like music and? Like, you want to have a popping time while you're at work, right?
Yeah.
So that everyone else can.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're cranking tunes and...
Trying to, you know, but music's very subjective as well. Like, one person's pleasure is another's poison. So.
Plus, like, if you listen to the same song, doesn't matter what it is, like your whole shift, you know, when there's a loop, you get like, there'll probably be like 50 songs
rock
on
pool used to be the worst. Like, you just
Yeah.
like the same playlist like every day. You'd be like,
and you know what's coming next.
Yeah.
You just want to start killing yourself. You're like, that was the same with like when I was a apprentice in the open kitchen. That's what got me as well. And you knew the Radiohead song was going to come up, and you're like, I used to like Radiohead. Now I fucking hate them.
Amy Winehouse, when I was in England, every day, all day.
There was this front of house manager when I was an apprentice, and he would play that closing time song at closing time every night that he was on. And I was like, we just want to throttle the guy.
he probably thought he was a genius. Like,
He was like, this is really fun.
nailed
He
it.
was
so smart.
closing time. I still have nightmares about that. I was like, just stop playing it. Like any other song would be cool.
Yeah.
Like chuck some Kylie on even. I don't care.
Minogue?
Yeah.
Throwback.
Well, she's still alive, I think.
Is she?
I don't know. How do you get? Can you like when you have taps in the bar? Can you just pick one tap from one brewery, or do you have to get like, or like if you get one beer from a supplier, do you have to get like more than one? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
some places unless they're a brewery, some places I've noticed you can. It seems to be quite a cool tap list, but they're very individual. Or then you'll just get like a lot of sort of, I don't know, little creatures in a row. Or
Yeah, so like for example, if you're a big pub group, you're generally going to sign with one of the major breweries, and there's really only two of them, which is Lion or CUB. And they're going to, in their contract where, you know, they give you X price on kegs, they're going to say, we want 95% of your taps or 90% of your beer taps, for example. So then you've got all of the Lion brands to choose from. So you can choose from your Swan Drafts, your Little Creatures,
it's fucking heaps,
Hearts, Squires, that type of thing. And then you might have one or two taps that, you know, you might sell to someone else, or you might be like, I want to keep this one for a rotating craft beer type thing, or, you know, you might need something because your customers love like Guinness, for example, or something like that. And then I guess the other way to do it is to not have any of those contracts, and then what happens is you basically got freedom to do whatever you want, and then you can negotiate the keg price at the time. Whereas it's just a long-term thing versus a short to medium term.
So why would you go with a contract? Is it cheaper, or like?
Generally, it's like you'll get like marketing support. You also get like rebates. So let's just say for every litre of Swan Draft I sell, I might get 25 cents back, or 20 cents back per litre.
You're right.
So then that comes off the cost of a keg, and then every 3 months I get a big check in the mail that says $30,000 or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, great.
And then the same happens with spirits contracts as well, right? So like you walk in and you might see someone's got vodka from Pernod Ricard, gin from Pernod Ricard. They've basically paid to have their product in there. You're using it in your cocktails. You've got a volume target. If you reach that volume target, then there'll be a rebate, or you'll get a discount per bottle type thing.
Yeah.
And that's the game
interesting.
That's the game.
That's what you're trying to achieve.
In theory, yes.
Wow.
Trying to, same as you guys in the kitchen, trying to keep your cost of goods as low as possible.
Totally.
Yeah.
Profit.
Is it hard though? Like, we're into food, so food's like all over the place. But with alcohol, is it hard to kind of like hit those targets?
No, if anything, it's easier.
Yeah.
Like, I can open a bottle of vodka, pour one shot out of it, and then it's still good 3 months later. Like I don't have to worry. Like the wastage is a lot less, and like in theory, it should be easier.
I heard that wine consumption's like at its lowest it's ever been.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
Not at my house.
Not at this wine bar.
Yeah, not in this wine bar. That does surprise me.
They're still hitting wine, yeah.
That's what I heard, because it's like two reasons they were saying, and this is just like online news. The cost of like luxury items.
Yeah.
So people are buying, maybe they're buying cheaper wine, and then also younger people aren't as interested in wine as they are in other things these days. You haven't noticed any of that?
No, I still find wine's very. Like I find there's a pretty, like in here especially, like obviously we're a wine bar, but we get a pretty good mix across the board. And then having worked for like big pub groups and stuff, like tap beer is always your biggest mover. And then I find spirits is probably up the last few years, but I felt like wine's definitely catching up as well. So. And
people will come in and want to try nice wines, expensive wines.
Yeah, for sure. And they're looking at these like alternate varietals, and they're like, oh, what's that? I've never heard of that before. And you'd be like, oh, well, if you like Chardonnay, you'll probably really enjoy this. And then give them a taste, and then they'll be like, oh, that's cool. Like, and hopefully, that's the goal, is we're trying to like educate through enjoyment, I guess.
Yeah, because we've got to let you go in a minute anyway. Yeah. So like, bring it back to your bar. Like, you are looking at a lot of wines around, and you're selecting all of them yourself, man. And
yeah, for sure. Like, we change our wines by the glass list. There's probably like 20 on there. We change that every 6 weeks or something like that. And we're always looking for, there'll always be staples on there. There'll always be like a Sauv Blanc or a Chardonnay, but it's not going to be like, it's always Marlborough Sauv Blanc and Margaret River Chardonnay. There's going to be like, here's a Sauvignon Blanc from Central Otago, or, from France or wherever it is. And then people they get to try something essentially the same thing, but wildly different because of the environment that it's been made in. So
Yeah, I used to think we'd have wine tastings at work, and I used to think there was just such a lot of wank. But then now I've sort of got into them, and now I kind of figure it out a bit. But I think that's from drinking them as well. That's from like,
the best way to learn.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Before I was just like red,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I did notice I was liking certain like Cab Savs and things like that. Like Marlborough Sound ones and things like that.
Yeah.
I just started to like, shit, now I know about wine. You know, all of a sudden you were like, fuck, that's the same. But it was just like, I didn't really care. It was just what said it on the label. And I was like, oh, that was like the other one that I liked. And I do the same with beers when it said like, I didn't know what DDH meant on the can. I just knew that I normally like whatever it is, double dry hop or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just knew. But I didn't know anything about it. I don't know what they stood for. All these acronyms, all these places.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like, then I started to figure it out when it said Marlborough, that kind of style. I was like, sweet.
Definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
What time do you have to get out of here?
1 o'clock.
Yeah, right
wrap
on.
it up.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
sorry.
we're done, man. We do really appreciate you
Thank
letting
you.
us come
I'm
down
sorry
here.
to make it so rushed, but I was
No, dude,
really
that's
enjoyed
awesome.
during the chat actually, so it's good.
That's
The
all right. We'll do it
insight's
again, man.
amazing, and good luck with the bar. It looks amazing. And
Thank you. You guys have to come in for. I mean, it's a bit hard for you in Fremantle.
I'll
Let's
drink
come in for
anywhere,
dinner.
dude. No, I don't have a location that I must.
Well, he knows where it is now.
I drink and drive, so I can go anywhere.
I drive so much faster when I drink, eh?
No, I don't, man. But we'd love to come down.
I the other day I was dropping the kids off at school and I turned
Drunk?
the corner too quickly and hit my tyre right where they'd cut away for a drain, and so it split my tyre. And so I was like, I'm such a fucking idiot. But now, for the last 3 weeks, every day when I drop the kids off at school, about to pull in, and they go, Daddy, be careful not to split your tyre. And I'm like, I've got to live with that for eternity now.
Yeah.
Like, for the
Yeah, I
next
know.
5 years of them going to school, it's going to be every day, so Daddy, be careful not to split your
They pick up on the dumbest stuff, eh?
Fuck, they're annoying.
That's a great way to end it. Kids are annoying. Please come down to Bertie Bar in Bassendean. This is a really great place, man. Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
bro. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.